Here we are back at our map of Florence, and we're going to walk down from the baptistry where we've been hanging out, and we're going to go down this main road, and before we get to the Piazza della Signora, we're going to stop off at Or San Michele. That's our next location, and this is our view of Or San Michele. Now, I put the name here to emphasize what we are looking at here. Or San Michele, you might see it spelled all one word. You might see it spelled three words, Or San Michele. Or San Michele is the Italian pronunciation. You may also hear it referred to as Or San Michel, and that is a French pronunciation of it. I give you a heads up now because I might slip and say the French pronunciation. And when you're looking on your in your textbook or on online articles, you might see it spelled in various ways, but it's all the same structure. It's this one here. And Or San Michele is a old grain house that used to have several stories of grain storage or food storage for the people living inside the city of Florence. However, as this became obsolete and not as useful as the city grew, it was then repurposed as a meeting hall. This becomes a significant statement of the health and status of the city of Florence, because this meeting hall is a guild meeting hall. Now, if you're not familiar with guilds, guilds are organized collections of trained artisans or tradesmen. So there would be a guild for sword makers and armor makers. There'd be a guild for wool manufacturing. There'd be a guild for silversmith. There'd be a guild for sculpture and wood and stonework, right? And each of these guilds would use this space as a meeting hall for them to discuss things like pricing of their materials, the quality of their materials, the allowance of somebody to come into the city and work in their trade, or the training of their trade, or access to raw materials for their trade. So business is happening in this space, and business is what keeps Florence rolling. So the structure becomes a statement of the power and wealth of the city of Florence. And along the outside, on the street level, you can see these beautiful insets or niches. And each of these niches was put in place with the idea that each of the guilds would fund an artist to put a sculpture inside one of these niches. Now, each niche was to a specific guild, and each guild would have their own patron saint. Patron saint is like the holy figure associated with their trade, and they would have a deeper connection with that specific holy figure because of their idea of protection or help or guidance for that specific trade. So each guild has a patron saint, and each guild was then expected to pay for an artist to put a portrait of their patron saint in each of these niches. I mention all of this because the idea for putting each guild's patron saint in these niches was established about 100 years before we're here in the early Renaissance, so in the late Gothic period. And the idea was, oh, we have so much money, we have so much power, let's put this art on the outside of this building as a statement of our grace and our intelligence and our wealth and how wonderful it is to live in the city of Florence, right? It's like a public art project. You're familiar with public art. It's there to ennoble or enliven the people who pass by. That's what this was meant to be. Public art paid for by the guilds who do their business here. Now, this was, like I said, started about 100 years before, and there are 14 niches. And of those 14 niches, after 100 years, only 4 of them had been filled. Only 4 guilds had completed this task. All the others, all 10 of those other guilds had not completed their task. And so their empty niches just lined the outside of this building. That's not okay. And so the government of Florence says, hey, get on it. We need to show that we're awesome. Pay for an artist to go in and fill in those niches. So let's go.